What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV coming back at you with another one. So yeah, if you don't know, the fight has been announced. We already knew, the fight was coming. Talked about it coming. It was actually supposed to be in the month of December, but they changed the date. So now the fight is going to be in January, January 20th, actually, against Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson, January 20th. This is another step up fight, should I say, for Errol Spence, because his last couple of fights, Kell Brook was a huge fight for him. That was a huge step up fight for for Lamont Peterson. I mean, excuse me, for Errol Spence. The Kell Brook fight, that was huge, and what made it even bigger is the fact that he went over to the UK, he crossed the pond, and he took on Kell Brook in his hometown. And that was his real first step up fight, because I mean, we know he took on Leonard Bundu prior to that, and the Chris Algieri fight. Chris Algieri was actually his first real test opponent, and then he took on Leonard Bundu, a tough journeyman, who gave Keith Thurman a tough fight. So he didn't have too many step up fights, but then he took on Kell Brook. He went across the pond, took on Kell Brook, who was undefeated, a big welterweight, and in his hometown, he went over there and he did what he had to do. He brought the belts back. He actually towards the end, that was a tough fight. Don't get me wrong, it was a tough fight. He didn't blow Kell Brook out the water. He did end up stopping Kell Brook. I believe Kell Brook was damaged goods, but I don't want to take anything away from Errol Spence, because Kell Brook's eye was already damaged from the Triple G fight. But the thing about it is, Errol Spence damaged the other eye, so it's not even like it was the same eye that got damaged in the in the Triple G fight. So you got to give Errol Spence his props for that fight. That was a huge step up. He crossed the pond, he took on Kell Brook, and he took the belt. He knocked him out. He stopped him. You know what I'm saying? Not too many people would be able to stop Kell Brook, man. Kell Brook is a big welterweight. So you got to give him his props for that. And this is another tough task for him, fighting Lamont Peterson. I just can't see Lamont Peterson being too much of a challenge. I think in the early rounds, Lamont Peterson will test him, because he's a savvy boxer. He's been around. He's been in the ring with the likes of Timothy Bradley. He's been in there with Lucas Matisse. He's been in there with Victor Ortiz when Victor Ortiz was Victor Ortiz in his prime. He's been in there with Danny Garcia. And he had a tough outing with Felix Diaz. That fight could have went either way. A lot of people had Diaz winning that fight against Lamont Peterson. I personally had Lamont Peterson winning that fight, but it definitely was a tough fight. The fight with Danny Garcia, I thought Lamont Peterson pulled that fight out also, but it went Danny Garcia's way, which was another tough close fight. I actually thought that I think Lamont Peterson started off too slow in that Danny Garcia fight, which gave, in the judge's eyes, that's what I believe that gave Danny Garcia the victory. And then he had the fight with Lucas Matisse, and the Lucas Matisse fight is the reason why I'm picking Errol Spence to win this fight pretty handily, is because Lamont Peterson has an issue. He's sort of like Amir Khan. They harm themselves, man, because they can't help themselves. They like to hook with a hooker. He gets in there, he wants to mix it up. Even though he's outboxing you, then all of a sudden, if you watch Lamont Peterson fights, he could be outboxing you, and then all of a sudden he's in close quarters and just mixing it up with you. I always compare him to Amir Khan, because that's Amir Khan. Once Amir Khan gets touched, he can't help himself but to go back at the dude, and that's why he always finds himself getting knocked out. He always got to get back for, he just can't keep outboxing you throughout the fight. That's what makes Floyd Mayweather so great, is that Floyd Mayweather is going to stick to what's winning the fight. If he's outboxing you, he's just going to outbox you for the entire fight. He don't care what the crowd say. He don't care what, the boos or anything. He's there to get the victory. But Amir Khan, Lamont Peterson, yes, they're exciting fighters, but they come forward fighters, and if you do touch them, they want to touch you back, So that was his problem with the Lucas Matisse fight. He could have probably outboxed Lucas Matisse, but he chose to get inside to mix it up with Lucas Matisse and try to hook with a hooker, and that was the problem. And got himself knocked out. And then the Timothy Bradley fight, that was he lost a unanimous decision fight, but that was a very close fight. He pushed Timothy Bradley to the limit. This was early on in their careers, so that was a great fight. The Victor Ortiz fight, that fight ended in a draw. Each fighter, he knocked down Ortiz. Ortiz knocked him down, which was a real good fight. The Felix Diaz fight was a real tough fight. Felix Diaz is a gold medalist. Just lost to Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford clearly outboxed and outclassed Felix Diaz. And I'm pretty sure if Felix Diaz was in the ring with Errol Spence, I could see Errol Spence mowing Felix Diaz down, man. So I really can't see Lamont Peterson winning this fight. It's going to be a good fight and a tough fight in the beginning while it lasts. But I think that eventually Errol Spence is gonna pressure him, is gonna walk him down, and is gonna get him out of there, man. So they both listed at 5'9", and that's another thing. Lamont Peterson is. This is like his second or third, and I think it's his second fight at welterweight. Prior to that, he was fighting at 140. So I really can't see, him. Errol Spence is a big welterweight. They both listed at 5'9" with and then both arm reaches listed at 72. But I think that because I've seen Errol Spence. I've been next to him. I talked to him. I interviewed Errol Spence. And he's a big welterweight, man. You know what I'm saying? And I've been next to Lamont Peterson, and he's not that big of a guy. So, they both listed at 5'9", and their arm reach is both at 72 inches. But I really don't think so, man. I think Lamont Peterson is more around a 5'8", And I mean, he does have long arms. It does appear that he has long arms. But I don't think that's going to help him in his fight with Errol Spence, man. I just think that Errol Spence is too big, too strong, too young, and too hungry. So I got Errol Spence in this fight, man. I think in the middle to late rounds, he's gonna start putting a lot of pressure on Lamont Peterson. He's gonna corner Lamont Peterson. Errol Spence is very savvy. He's very smart in the ring, and I think he's gonna corner him off. He's gonna pressure him off. He's gonna cut the ring off, and I think that he's gonna get Lamont Peterson up out of there, man. But that's all I got for y'all. Blue Blood Sports TV, man. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. And make sure you hit the bell icon to get all the new notification, man. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Around here, and I'm out 8 in the mall, dog. Clock 2 around here. What you do around here? And I keep my tool around here. My act a fool around.